Hey, what's up, fam? If you are watching this, I value you. You mean a lot to me. I care about you. I felt drawn just now to make a video, to like send a message out there. And so that's what this is. I just want to like put some stuff into the world. I've been like thinking on this kind of while doing the dishes earlier and stuff, and I just want to put this sort of out into the world. And I want to start with this first of all, is that let's not discount the, I think, sort of like chaotic levers of misinformation and of gaslighting. I was thinking of this earlier during the pandemic on one of those State of the Union addresses. I don't remember which one during the term or at which point during the pandemic, but I remember it being like we were like super locked down. The deaths were at like 1,500 a day. I mean, it was a very high number of deaths. I mean, maybe greater than that. I mean, I don't, gosh, all of us have kind of repressed that time, haven't we? But it was really, really grim, dark, bad period. And I remember President Trump delivering a State of the Union, and it was just talking about how, oh, the pandemic has been handled so well, and it will be over soon. I mean, it was such, I remember feeling so disoriented during that I got out my phone and started Googling, started like fact checking in real time, because I was so disoriented by the rhetoric that I was hearing was so discordant with my experience. And that was so unmooring to me. And I've been feeling that way again just now. Now, I made that video a day or two ago about Steve Bannon's strategy just to flood the zone, which creates distractions and scandal so that people don't know where to look and they don't know where to focus, and they just sort of give up on the whole enterprise of pursuing the truth. So that is baked into the strategy. That's not accidental. That's a strategic decision to do that. It has been ever since like 2016. It's been the thing that they've been doing. But that feeling of unmooring, man, like this thing around with Elon, man, I saw what I saw, and all of us sort of like saw what we saw, right? And there is this like, whether it's people that want to like explain it away or you're, confirming a bias that you have or something, I just think it's such an obvious display that I'm feeling that same sense of being unmoored from my experience, that I'm hearing messages that are discordant with my experience. Now, the reasonable practice to do is to evaluate evidence and to update your beliefs in light of new evidence and to challenge your biases and to challenge your assumptions. And that's, and I'm not trying to plug my newsletter, but I write about this sort of like epistemic stuff all the time over there. And I make videos about it over here too. So these are not novel concepts to me. But for whatever it is, and I don't even know if it's like intentional, deliberate actors. I think many times there are bad actors, but I think also there's just this like outrageousness in the air that on national television behind the presidential podium, that the wealthiest man in the world who has office space in the White House and is seemingly directing things from, off stage, that person would give such a salute in that setting at inauguration at the time that 1,500 people who had done actual violence and crime on the Capitol were just like waved with a blanket pardon. All of those scenarios together, I think, are so unmooring and so shocking that it's hard to digest even your own experience. So I'm here to just affirm our experiences. We can trust what we saw. We can trust what we hear. We can trust what we feel. We can trust our reactions. Now, is that true all the time, no matter what, up, down, backwards, forwards? No, we cannot always consistently, as a general rule, trust our experience in all times, because we do get confused and we do fall in love and make bad decisions, right? We do stuff out of desperation. We miss we miss an important meeting and we freak out. Like, we make bad decisions. But on the fundamental stuff of what you see, you can believe your own eyes. You can. And I just remembered how unmoored I felt during that State of the Union when people were dying by the tens of thousands, of hundreds of thousands. And I was hearing this speech that was like, it's been great and it's been well handled and it couldn't have been handled better. And here's what we're doing and here's what we're going to get out of this. That experience that was so discordant, I'm feeling it again. So if you're feeling that experience, I affirm you, and I do too. And that's not weird. And we feel that way. And we have a right to feel that way. And we can own those feelings. And we can see each other and affirm each other through those feelings. That's the first thing I want to say. The next thing that I want to say are these executive orders are really intended to harm people. They are intended to do harm because executive orders are not only in limited instances are these going to be binding for the long haul. These are not going to be resilient in the face of legal scrutiny. They just won't stand up. You can't write an executive order to overturn an amendment of the United States Constitution. It just doesn't work like that. So, I think we need to also remind ourselves that these are intended to harm. They're intended to strike fear. They're intended to intimidate. Because what happens when you strike fear, a beloved reader of my newsletter, and I mean this, and she is beloved to me. She is one of my intergenerational sort of friendships. She and her brother are two very dear friends to me, and they're in their 80s. We have a very deep and strong relationship that we've fostered over years and years and years. Very special people in my life. And she sent me an email and she said, I'm worried about you. You're putting into the public long form essays criticizing this administration. And I'm worried that's going to get you on a list and is going to get you rounded up at some point. Now that is the outcome. That's what's intended by the rhetoric that we're getting from the administration. It's supposed to intimidate us to the point that then we don't want to speak out and we want to withdraw and we want to oh man, I don't know. And there will be a point when we'll need to organize and figure some stuff. Well, I don't want to even say there will be a point. I'm sorry, because that was alarmist. I'm sorry. I actually retract that. What I want to say is that I think we need to be alert and building community and building relationships. So should there ever come a time where we know that we need to stand in solidarity with our sisters and brothers and gender nonconforming siblings, that we know who's safe and we know what we're doing and we have a plan of action. I think that is important. So yes, harm is being done. So if you are being harmed, or if you're observing people in your friendships and in your family who are being harmed, again, I affirm these are intended to harm, these executive orders and this rhetoric. The idea that you could erase a trans person's very identity by signing an executive order not only is foolish and cruel, but it's nonsensical on its face. You don't disappear because somebody signed a piece of paper. So I just want to affirm that these are intended to harm. So if you're feeling harmed, that's valid, because I think that's the intent of these, to overwhelm, to strike fear, and to do harm. And there are many people in our lives, and I don't know where you all are living or where you're watching from, but I live in a place where it's a red state, and with a newly elected, deeply red governor, a Republican supermajority in the state house. So this is a threatening sort of place and becoming more threatening and more dangerous. So we need to be looking out for each other, and especially looking out for those who are not looking out for themselves. So I'm not attempting to downplay the concern, but I also think that there's a measured way to say these are not going to hold up to legal scrutiny. Nobody can erase you by putting pen to paper. And we need to foster communities where we have safety and security with each other. This is about moving past the left-right divide and understanding we're in the up-down divide. It's developing class consciousness, but that would take us too far afield in a video that I've already spent 8 minutes on. Your feelings are valid. Your response to these executive orders is valid. You can trust your lived experience. You can trust your eyes. You can trust your ears. You can feel afraid. You can feel sad. You can feel angry. Your emotions are your emotions. Nobody can tell you how to feel. Nobody can tell you the validity, the veracity of your emotions. Nobody can tell you that you're feeling something different than what you're feeling. Nobody can tell you that you're seeing something different from what you're seeing. And that will be the strategy. The strategy will be the January 6th strategy. That all of a sudden it became like a tourist event and it was a day of love. That was spoken during a town hall. It was a day of love. That's simple gaslighting. So I don't know if those followers got gaslighted and believed it, or if they're willfully ignorant to it. And I don't even think that analysis is useful in this moment. But I think it is to say they're going to try to do the Elon thing like they did the J6 thing. It's going to be 4 more years of that. And so trust yourself and trust your eyes and ears and validate. I'm here to validate how you feel. Validate those in your community, how they feel, and really do think about each other. That was something I put in a post the other day. I didn't speak it. It was a written post. And I said, think of each other. And I really mean that. Think of those, your friends that you don't see all the time. Have memories of them. Think of them. Send them a text if you want, but think of them. I think we need to make sure that we're reminding ourselves of our community as as strength that we can foster and cultivate and like hold on to just in each and every moment by thinking of each other and the strength and solidarity that we have together. That's enough. That's 10 minutes of this thing. I don't know. That's some stuff I just needed to say tonight.